Storybook Brawl was nice enough to send me some dust codes, so I'm doing another giveaway. Stick around to the end of the video to find out how you can enter to win. What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven, and today I wanted to talk about why I think runestones is the best treasure in Storybook Brawl, at least on Apocalypse. And we're going to get to some gameplay footage as well in this video, but I wanted to break down some math, the mathematics and probabilities of finding the desired tier 7 treasure. And one of the things that was interesting is when Radiant Prism got added to the treasure pool, none of the really powerful tier 7 treasures got removed, and overall, this made the power level of the treasures go up because Radiant Prism is probably the second best treasure among these. So some really good stuff happened when Radiant Prism was added to the game for hunting for tier 7 treasures. And I think that runestones on Apocalypse is one of the easiest ways to grab a tier 7 treasure because it's just normally so easy to get tier 6 treasures on APOC. So if you can take a runestones there, you can actually have a really good shot at finding some treasures that can win you the game. And I think that tier 7 treasures can basically be divided up into different groups of, there's definitely some different power level. Fairy Queen's Wand is fine if you are struggling, but it's never going to lead you to the most busted comps in the game. And Magic Sword can similarly be strong for the current board, especially if you have like a burning tree or something like that, but ultimately isn't going to be as strong. I think you could say the same thing for Excalibur and Black Prism. They can allow you to have stronger boards, but ultimately are going to probably fall off eventually, save in some cases with Black Prism putting together some crazy croc combos. But wanted to just talk about the math. Previously, the odds that you would receive one of these bottom row treasures was 88.53% roughly. That's the chance that you're either going to find a Mirror, Holy Grail, or Round Table in some combination. Pretty high, but when you add Radiant Prism into the mix, that goes up to 92.86%. So a little bit of an increase nonetheless. I think that's like 4% or so. When you get even a little bit more stingy, let's say you don't want to find Mirror, you don't have a Good Boy, which is really the main tier 6 unit that's going to make use of Mirror, you just want to find Holy Grail or Round Table, or now you will also like Radiant Prism. The chances of that previously were 71.43%, but now when you add Radiant Prism into the mix, that goes up to 82.14%. So a much higher increase, and we can even get a little bit greedier for it. Previously, the chances of just finding the Holy Grail would have been 42.86%. But now, if you are willing to look for both the Holy Grail and Radiant Prism, which I definitely am, your odds of finding just Holy Grail have gone down, so that is worth recognizing, but your chances of finding either Holy Grail or Radiant Prism are now up to 64.29%. So really high. There's a really good chance that just by taking a runestones on APOC, you're 2 out of 3 going to grab either a Holy Grail or a Radiant Prism, which can easily turn into a winning game for you. And if not, maybe you find the Round Table, or maybe you still find one of these other sweet level 7 treasures, or maybe you just have to take Fairy Queen's Wand because you think you're too weak or something. But that is what we are going to take a look at in this video. We took a look at it the other day where I grabbed a runestones with Apocalypse, and I just wanted to double down on how good I think this treasure is. So let's find out what we can do with runestones on Apocalypse in one more game. We roll a die into a Sherwood Sure Shot, and then our second shop has a free roll. I think about just picking up this goat, but we actually get to roll twice because of the free roll, so I just make use of those, and that lets us find another Sherwood Sure Shot, which is pretty good. And then we also have the option here to lock onto a shop with Black Cat plus Labyrinth Minotaur. I think that that definitely could have been a way to go, but I decided not to lock onto that one then, just see what else we can find with our third shop. So that is, I guess we wouldn't have been able to really make super great use of the shrink spell because we had already cast the free roll for the turn. I wound up picking up a happy little tree and grabbing a Mad Mim before grabbing a golden chicken as well, and I really like this arrangement of units, and ultimately I think this is about the same power level as if I had picked up the Black Cat and the Labyrinth Minotaur, because Mad Mim is just quite strong. So that's going to be good for us for the rest of the game. And then we also get to bring the Golden Chicken ahead with us too. So that will continue to keep us strong here. And we'll win this combat, hit Trophy Hunter for 4, and then we are on to 3.0. And I think the pickup here is probably just Baby Root plus the Ogre Princess. There is also some consideration, like we could sell the Golden Chicken to pick up the Worm Root. So that's definitely something to consider. This board is a little bit awkward to have Ogre Princess in that final attacking position, so I do wind up selling the Golden Chicken, using the Mad Mim to support the Baby Root, and then backlining both of my ranged units. And yeah, it was a little bit of an awkward shop, a little bit of an awkward turn, but I think that we did something nice with it ultimately. And now we're just going to see how far these Sherwood Sure Shots can carry us, and unfortunately, we are going to be taking our first loss there, but still feeling quite strong. I have got a lot of different interesting tools to play around with here now. Like, I kind of want to support the Stag potentially with the Baby Root. So I think that this is ultimately going to be the way to go about it, and then I can like put the I also want to support the Water Wraith with the Baby Root, just because I really like when that has some additional health. And then I realized that I should probably just backline the Ogre Princess. It's a 7/5, or I can frontline it and just put it in the first position. And that way the Stag is pumping up the Sherwood Sure Shot too. And I'm not playing both of my Sherwood Sure Shots because I'm casting this Falling Stars, but I think that this layout worked out really, really well. We didn't get that many triggers on, or we got one trigger on the Water Wraith, right? So not too shabby, all things considered here. And then some more interesting decisions to think about. We picked up another Baby Root with the Ogre Princess, and then we see a bunch of Luckies, though kind of awkward to make them work. And really, this game was a little bit chaotic and pretty fun, because we've got so many units that just care about their positioning, and that just made for some really interesting puzzles this game. Do I want the Stags to be supported by Baby Roots? Do I want Water Wraith to be supported by Baby Root? Do I want the Stags pumping up a Sherwood Sure Shot? And ultimately, I don't know what the right answer is here, but this is what I wind up on for the turn. 2 Stags supporting 2 Sherwood Sure Shots, and then the Labyrinth Minotaur and the not the Labyrinth Minotaur, the Water Wraith and the Mummy in the front row, with the Sherwood Sure Shots hoping to pick up some additional stats. But we do take a little bit of damage. I think that maybe this layout isn't the best. A little bit awkward just to fit everything in. But then we grab Sherwood Sure Shot, and I don't really love any of these treasures. Dragon's Nest could give +5/+5 to the Feasting Dragon, and then also Doom Breath when we hit level 6, so it's not the craziest idea. And then I do wind up using this as an excuse to put the Baby Root back in, and I think that this could work out nicely for us. But again, do I want the Stag supporting the Feasting Dragon? Do I want the Stag supporting the Sherwood Sure Shot? It's a really tough call, and I think that this is ultimately what I go with. You can see I'm still moving some things around. I think that that's like a pretty big running theme throughout this game, is I'm never entirely satisfied with any of the boards put together, and that might have even made it worth slowing down so that you guys could have thought about what boards you would have liked to play, but definitely let me know in the comments on any like in particular turns you would have played this or that. We get to deny Loki the spinning gold there and pick up some prized pig gold, so that is a pretty nice turn. And then I'm going to go for another Feasting Dragon. Not too much synergy with Apocalypse, but we've got the Dragon's Nest and we actually triple the Feasting Dragon, so kind of silly. And then from there I just go for Moonsong Horn because that is a treasure. Just any discount I can get on my spells. I know I'm going to be casting some spells later with APOC. I appreciate. Is a little bit awkward. I thought about this. When you triple a dragon and you've got Dragon's Nest, you're actually making your treasure less useful because the treasure was giving +5/+5 to 2 units, and now it's only giving +5/+5 to 1 unit. And I always think that is a weird thing for how scales or treasures like the Fountain scale or Bad Sword, I think it might be called. They really just are weird in that when they like encourage you to play a bunch of good units, but when you upgrade said good units, you're actually giving yourself a much worse board. So kind of silly. Wonder Waddle up 2 XP on us, but we will get the Ogre Princess Slay, and then we will also get to pick up our Rune Stones. And Ogre Princess doing pretty good for giving us pairs this game. Kind of silly. That is going to give us our second Medusa, and at this point trying to consider what other things I might be interested in picking up, but I don't want to make any more triples. I will definitely be interested in a Wish Upon a Star though, so going to sell 2 things for that. And if I win this combat, which we're up against the Ghost, doing pretty nicely here, that will make us 5.1, and then we can roll for XP on the following turn and become Apocalypse. So that is really, really cool, and we are really, really strong. We are playing up against a total loser right now, somebody that has lost and can't admit it, but we are able to take them down and get the Wish Upon a Star for some bonus XP. So really sweet stuff. Now we are just basically going to roll for XP on this turn. Maybe, I mean, actually, I don't even think I want to complete the Nutcracker treasure because, and I think I will take it out because I just wouldn't want to potentially have the tier 5 treasure. I really just want to grab the tier 7 treasure from Runestones. You can see here I'm even saying like, well, if we put the Lance on the Baby Root and then the Friendly Spirit lands on the Lance, then we could get a tier 6 treasure, but I don't want that. I want a tier 7 treasure for the reasons that I talked about earlier in this video, and I think this is a board that is going to be strong enough to get us to tier 6. I don't think we're going to take 32 damage this turn, not really possible. I don't know if we're going to win, but I'm not sure that that is super important at this point. We're going to be level 6 next turn, and then we'll have 12 gold to potentially roll and pick up a pair of one of the units that we already have. So that is the game plan from here. Feasting Dragon is going to get another Slay, so kind of funny. We are going to have really big units in the shop, like I said. That doesn't really synergize with APOC immediately, but it will give us some nice additional bonuses, and we do actually take out the Trophy Hunter. I thought I lost this one, but I must be thinking of a different game. But now we get to pick up a pair of Ashwood Elms. That is really, really sweet, and then I'll go for the Forbidden Fruit, so that way I could potentially roll and pick up another 6. But I am thinking I could still roll and pick up a 6. I could sell off this Bear Stain and Jormungand potentially after 2 rolls. And when I find Robin Wood, I think that I like that. It's going to pump up Good Boy, and it is also just going to get pumped up by the trees. So I'm going to sell off Bear Stain, pick up Robin Wood, and the reason that this is strong, so Robin Wood's now pumping up Good Boy, that's going to make it 10, and then all of those stats are also going to make it onto Hercules. So all of that is quite fantastic. We are now looking for an Ashwood Elm to find a level 7 treasure or to connect a few more times with this Hercules. I say a few more as if I'd done it yet, but it's going to be 31, so that still needs 4 hits. We'll see if we can get that over that hump, though, in short order. But these trees are going to give us enough board presence for the time being. Unfortunately, Hercules gets rotted there. It gets rotted, I guess you'd say. So we're only going to connect with that once, but we are going to hit my opponent for 11 damage. So that part of it's nice. Go for a Drink Me Potion, see what we can find. I like health, and then I also really like grabbing, making one of my trees good. There is some incentive to put it on Burning Tree because then it would get the buff from Good Boy, but ultimately I think you're just always going to want to throw this on Ashwood Elm, so that way you can evil twin your Ashwood Elm and grab a tier 7 treasure later in the game, or tier 6 treasure. Good Boy is also pretty good here. The main incentive for the Good Boy is that, one, when you're playing two Good Boys, they kind of stack with each other. The other thing is it could make a triple, which it is going to be able to do here. But the other thing is that these Good Boys have +8/+8 from my earlier feat. I guess they've got +9/+9 from the, or +7/+7 rather, from the Feasting Dragon, and then +1/+1 from the Horn on my treasure selection. Hercules is going to get taken out there, a little bit annoying, but we've got a backline full of some good units here to clean things up, and we hit the Fallen Angel for a little bit of damage. We're going to complete the treasure from our Good Boy, and then it's Holy Grail. I mean, Black Prism could certainly be cute. We could give everything a little bit more health. We're kind of in between Good Boy and trees, though. Once we take the Holy Grail, we're playing trees. So we are going to just be rolling for some trees next turn. And even right now, if we can roll down and find another tree, I will slot it in. It is worth just selling off the Jermigan, selling off the chicken to try to find some trees right for this very second, just to get these things out of your hand, because on your Holy Grail turn, you're going to want to sell off everything. So this is something that I think can separate the men from the boys in some capacity, to always just sell off of your Holy Grail stuff. And we are playing up against the Ghost here, so I don't want to backline my Hercules. I don't know how strong the Ghost is, but we will also be activating Hercules this turn. So the other thing to prepare yourself for the Grail turn is you got to think about what tier 6 treasures do I want. And as soon as that completes, I'm already thinking of which ones I'm skipping, which ones I'm taking, so that way I can immediately make this decision. In Pandora's Box, easy grab. That was the top of my list, to be able to grab ourselves another tier 7 treasure. So that's the idea here, and now I am full pivoting into trees. I'm going to get rid of this Good Boy eventually. I pick up some Green Knights and an Ashwood Elm, and then awkward ordering here too, that I pick up the Ashwood Elm before I see the Knighthood, but I'll just go ahead and Knighthood the Echowood now. One of the main reasons that I do that is because I am still thinking that we could triple these Burning Trees. So I want to leave myself the possibility of grabbing a tier 6 treasure, which you can double up with the Mimic Chest. Then I get to grab another Echowood and sell through some other things. Let's see, yeah, Burning Tree right before the turn ends, that's great. And then I go 9th Book of Merlin. The main reason that I take that here is because we are getting a tier 7 treasure next turn, and if we can get the Radiant Prism, we will have put together an Exodia comp. That's the main thing that I'm hunting for this patch. I think that is the current best build. There are some other wacky builds that you could potentially do with Round Table, and I'm not going to be upset if I find a Round Table here. Unfortunately, I get a Magic Sword +100. It's fine. It's +100, +200 to my lead Burning Tree. It's not something that I'm super excited about. It means that the 9th Book of Merlin isn't really doing anything for us. We could try to pick up some mages, though it'd be tough to fit them in because I also want to play all of these trees, so a little bit awkward, but ultimately I think going to be fine enough for us here. But if we got that Radiant Prism, can you imagine? Because we still have the upgraded Good Boy, and we also have a great Pumpkin on the bench, so we would have been able to go absolutely nuts with that, and all of our units would have cast 2 spells every time they died, which would have been insane with the Pumpkin, and then the Good Boy's just given insane stats there. There is some consideration potentially for putting Good Boy in the Magic Sword. Oh, I'm sorry. Magic Sword 100 is doubled. It's Magic Sword 200. So that's giving +200 +400 to the leading Burning Tree. Not too shabby for a treasure that I wasn't hoping for, but ultimately pretty sweet stuff there. That's going to let us easily defeat this fallen angel, basically just from the burning tree alone, despite the fact that we are running no mages to make use of our doubled up 9th book. I don't know to what extent I would throw in any mages if I were able to pick them up, because they would just be so small compared to all of these insane trees that we've got here. And then I make another Ashwood Elm off of an Evil Twin, and then I'm just rolling to see if we can't find one more before this game is up. 31 health, APOC, feeling pretty good. I could sell some things and pick up some Green Knights. I get offered them twice. Ultimately, I don't think it is super necessary, and apologies that I lost my camera here, but I'm going to continue without it because I'm trying to speed through this recording. One of the things that speeding up the recordings lets me do is it lets me throw interesting stuff like that at the front of the video while also having, you know, just enough time for the rest of my life. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this more fast-paced content, or at the very least aren't unenjoying it. But I go for a what is that? Mix-a-Whizzle on the Good Boy, hoping to hit one more tree. That would be pretty sweet. And then I finish off the turn with a Gigantify on the Ashwood Elm. And we do have another Ashwood Elm that we're not playing. I think that the Robinwoods are probably better in this capacity, and the Robinwood might even be better than like the Echowood. I do take a look to see what my opponent is playing. Do I want to run more ranged units? Do I want to run more large units? And the answer could also potentially be dropping the Green Knight. The Green Knight gives plus 10 health, which means that it's like 20 worth of Ashwood Elm, so a 22 health Ashwood Elm is actually more stats than just playing the Green Knight. So I throw in that and then just play double Robinwood. That's going to give me some large units in the back. One of them gets Pigomorphed, and my opponent has Good Boys plus Court Wizard. But my units are kind of huge, so I don't think they're even going to get through my front line of trees. Maybe they get through, yeah, they get through the one Ashwood Elm, but then we do eventually take them out there. And a pretty strong showing for Apocalypse ultimately. Unfortunately, I was a little bit short of putting together the Exodia comp of the Mimic Chest plus 9th book plus Radiant Prism, but that just gives us something to look for in the future. Here's the details for my giveaway. Just leave a comment on any of my videos this week that includes the word support, and you'll be entered into a chance to win a 4,000 dust code. The reason that I say to include the word support, that way I can differentiate between the people just leaving a comment and those that are actually interested in the dust, to make sure that it goes to a person that will appreciate it. And there's no limit to how many times you can enter. You can go back and comment on some of my previous videos. I've been uploading daily Storybook Brawl videos for the past 7 or 8 months at this point, so I'm sure there is some sweet content that you have yet to see. And yeah, you can enter multiple times. I will do a new code next week, and the other thing that I wanted to say is that if a bunch of people enter, I will give away more codes. So that's just going to be limited by how many people are entering and how many people are commenting. Let's get this channel to over 1,000. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much for watching. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.